think we should start with something fun. It's an older video, but it is probably a fun one. Who knows? I found this one while searching around. It's one of the old 15 questions that atheists can't answer. I'm excited because this is like going back to how my channel started. I know I've said that every time I've done one of these 10 questions atheists can't answer, 3 questions atheists can't answer, but you know what? The world is burning, and life sucks, so we're gonna go and have some fun with content today. They're great. They're wonderful pieces of old internet history.
The questions that an atheist cannot answer.
Yeah?
And of course, these are very, very legitimate questions. So you have atheists, you have people who call themselves humanists. You have some people who basically are anti-godists.
You mean anti-theists?
They seem emphatic about revolting against the said God. So there are these questions, and
yeah,
I'll be listing the questions so we see whether these people can answer them, and pose these questions to these atheists anytime you talk to them to see if they do have answers to them.
So I'm just going to go and say this right now. There's a funny thing when you bill this not as 15 questions that you have for atheists, but 15 questions that all Christians should have that they should grill atheists with. It makes it seem a lot more disingenuous. It makes it seem like you've got loaded language. You're aiming for a particular outcome, as opposed to just being curious about our opinions. That's just me, though.
The first question is, what is the purpose of your existence?
It's whatever the hell I want it to be. Next question.
And that's the question people have asked for so long. And, you have these seminars where people discuss and say, what's the purpose of our existence?
Yeah, because people find it to be interesting, but really it boils down to this. As living beings in a universe based on consumption, we are here to do 2 things. Consume other things for energy and fuck to create more things that look like us. That's the big picture for basically all living organisms. But when it comes to human beings, because we are sapient, because we are not just sentient beings, but we are sapient, we get the ability to engage in what I would call higher purpose than that. Now, that's not saying that a higher purpose is something that is mandated by a god. That's just you wanting to do something greater than eating the next steak that comes your way. You can learn to play the violin, or you can learn to play with a Transformers robot. Like that's entirely up to you.
So as long as you're here and you do not know the purpose of your being here, it basically makes your existence lack any value.
So I can actually somewhat, a little bit, agree with these things. Because if you are the type of person who sits there and waxes lyrical about how life has no true meaning and you're just such the the fatalist, such the nihilist, that you don't really feel like there's much of a purpose to you being around, then yeah, life's gonna kind of suck for you. But it's very easy to not fall into that. It's very easy not to fall into that despair. You just don't. You just don't. Life sucks, it's all one big joke, but you know what? We all have each other, and as long as we have each other, we can make life better for each one another. Go play Magic the Gathering with your best friends. Trust me, they miss you. And go outside, touch grass. There you go. Purpose of life.
So we would like to see whether people can answer that question. Now, from a religious point of view...
It's still going? What? Why is it still going? I thought the question was asked.
The answer is pretty simple to that question, and the answer is... quoting what I was speaking with a Jewish friend of mine some days ago, and he said, I did not create man but to worship me.
Do you hear that weird background buzzing? I'm just gonna say this right. I know the video is like 7 years old, but Audacity existed back then, and it had the plugin that the FMPreg plugin that allowed you to take a video and yank it into Audacity. There was always the option to remove that noise.
Okay, so that's the answer to that from a religious point of view, that we are here to worship God, but...
Yeah, I don't like that answer, just like I wouldn't like my purpose being to worship my manager at a Costco.
We would like you to ask your atheist friends or people, atheist preachers, what's the purpose of it?
I'm sorry, there really aren't atheist preachers. There are people who are very militant in their atheism, but I really would not call them preachers.
Their existence. The second question is, if we can get away with it, why should we not kill fellow men?
Because we don't want that to happen to us. It's simple as that. Like, it is safer, it is happier, it is more fun, it is more enjoyable, it is more peaceful to live in a world where other people are not trying to kill you. So it benefits you to be one of the people not trying to kill other people. Like, it is a direct benefit to your survival, even if you have the ability to get away with it. What does get away with it mean? Right. What does get away with it mean? Does it mean get away with it so the law doesn't catch you? Because, like, her brother probably will, or his sister. It just depends on who you killed. Like, if get away with it means, like, nobody would ever know, then you're still inflicting a massive amount of pain, not just on the person you're killing until they die, but also on the family that had that person as part of their in-group. You don't want to cause that amount of pain to that family, because living in a world where that is something that is very likely to happen to you is really not ideal. Like, I'm looking at this from a very cold and cruel perspective, but the reality is, if other people don't want you to do horrible things to them, it benefits you directly, in a purely greedy fashion, to not do the horrible things to them. Because the likelihood of horrible things happening to you drastically decreases the fewer terrible things you do to other people.
And this is the basic question on morality. People think morality, humanists think morality, men can determine morality.
We actually did. So, fun thing, morality, as we understand it, having a moral code, that's literally just an evolutionary adaptation for a social species to continue to survive with one another. For a social species, as human beings are, to grow up and exist together without running into major complications, there need to be certain baseline agreements that species has with one another. And not killing each other, on average, helps the species to grow and prosper. If we spent all of our time killing each other, which, yeah, I get it, war exists, we do that to a certain degree, but if we did it to the absurd degree that would be required for a hypothetical like this, then we simply wouldn't exist as a species. It benefits us evolutionarily to have at least a little bit of trepidation before engaging in a little bit of stabation.
But the question is, if not for said lay-down principles that come from the religious perspective, when you look at things from an evolutionary point of view, why not kill the next man if you're not going to be caught to survive?
What? But why do you, hold on. What? Why would you need to kill the next man to survive? If I go to my neighbor's house, which is a bit of a walk, I live in the woods, but if I go to my neighbor's house and I just give him the stab, the shank, I just take my lightsaber toothpick and I just gouge his eyes out. Does that actually increase my chances of survival? No, not really. I've actually decreased my chances of survival. Even if I don't get caught, because I live out in the woods and nobody comes out here to check on jack shit, even if I don't get caught in doing so, the likelihood that one of the family members is going to be put at least on edge, at least on guard, increases. I also might die in the attempt. Like, killing somebody is not just a one-and-done thing. When you kill somebody, you have to risk your own life in doing so, no matter what the circumstances are. Even if the person's, like, sleeping, you're still risking an alarm system you might not know is there. You're still risking pets that might actually attack you for trying to do so. Like, there's all kinds of risks involved with that you just don't need to take. It doesn't help your survival to kill other people. In fact, especially out here where people have farms and livestock and stuff like that, it actually benefits your survival to let those people be alive, because if you are short on food, you can then barter with those people in order to get food. You can barter with those people for eggs and meat and produce that they have made on their own farms, and damn near everybody here has some level or layer of farm. So, for me personally, there's lots of reasons not to kill people, and for most people by and large, killing them doesn't actually increase your chances of survival, it just decreases it.
to get some money, to get something. If you're not going to get caught, what's the reason?
I mean, but why would I need to kill him for money? I can just go out and work at a local McDonald's, and then suddenly I have money in my pocket. It's called a paycheck.
Why you will not do it if there's not an all-seeing body and an all-seeing person who you will report to. Now, I would like atheists to explain what brings about this morality.
Because it is mutually beneficial for humans to not kill each other. We survive en masse as a species better when we don't kill each other.
If you're not going to get caught for adultery, or you're not going to get caught for something, why not do it?
Well, let's see here. Even if you might get caught for doing adultery, or if you might not get caught for doing adultery, it's very, very hard to maintain that kind of lie long term. You typically end up having some kind of slip. Not to mention, if you don't want your spouse cheating on you, then cheating on your spouse is probably not a good idea. You don't know if you've been caught sometimes. There are stories you can find on the internet of guys that cheated on their girlfriend, and then they didn't get caught, and then so they did it again, and so they did it again. And they didn't realize that their girlfriend knew the entire time and just wanted them to come forward about it, and because they never did, they literally waited an entire year and then dropped some type of bomb in the middle of a family get-together or something, and it absolutely ruins their life forever. I'm sorry, but not only do I not want to do that, because I don't want to hurt my partner, but at the same time, there's lots of things women can do, and really any partner you have can do, that will just bombshell you if you try. So maybe don't do that. Also, just saying, like, if you really need to boink somebody who's not your partner, just talk with them about it. Like, there are things you can arrange. You might be able to arrange polyamorous organizations. You might be able to manage, I don't know, a threesome. I mean, fuck, the girl might be into spit roasting. You don't know that. So you have those conversations.
But from a religious point of view, the answer to that is quite simple, because you have this all-seeing, omnipotent, omnipresent being that you'll report to. The third question is, why should man conserve the environment? And this was a question.
Why should man conserve the environment? Because we fucking live here. We live in the environment, so we have a want to conserve it. What? What kind of a question is that? I have to know. How does that question come about here?
I posed to a professor from New York State University.
I seriously doubt you posed this to a professor. I don't think a professor would take that seriously.
From New York University, actually, NYU, during her dissertation presentation. And I asked her, I say, why conserve the environment?
You live here, motherfucker. If the environment goes, so do you. What? How? Also, welcome to the stream, Quad. QU44D? I don't know how to pronounce your name. Also, yes, I'm a dude. Hello, how you doing? Jesus Christ. That is the best reaction ever. Oh no, you clicked a video and the VTuber happens to have the voice of a male. Congratulations, you stepped into the stream and you have no idea how you feel about this. Or you know exactly how you feel about this and you crave violence. Nah, no. Whichever one you care about, not my business. We're gonna get back to the video.
Nature.
Are you trans? Nope, I'm a cishet white guy. Hi.
There have been, meteorites or asteroids have struck the Earth. And due to these processes, according to evolution, these are the reasons why we are here. Because of catastrophic events. So all of a sudden, why is it our responsibility to starve ourselves of things we can do?
Wait, starve ourselves of things we can do? Because there's a limit. If you did, you would. Never mind. Wait, no, now I'm curious, Q4. I don't know how to pronounce your name. There's numbers in it. But I'm just curious, for this guy right here, this one that I'm listening to right now, I have to know, my guy, there's a limit to the environment. You fuck it up enough. You don't actually get to live anymore. You nuke the environment. The world is like a sun, and you don't get to have burritos or pizza anymore. So what's the fucking jiggle? They are called boobs. Boobs jiggle. Also, Jassa Proxy, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. But no, seriously, like there's a limit to how much you can fuck the environment, so don't fuck the environment too hard. I don't know how that's even a question. Isn't it usually like the Christian perspective that people are meant to just destroy the earth? I don't know. These people confuse me. These people confuse the crap out of me.
We can make nuclear bombs. We can drop them. We can burn things.
Pod says I'm gonna fuck the environment. Then you, my friend, are Rick Sanchez. Enjoy having a planet with a baby. I mean, a baby with a planet. That's a different statement entirely.
We can, cause global warming. At what point and for what reason and with what justification is man suddenly in charge of preserving the environment?
Well, again, we live here. Why do you clean your house? Because you live there and you want it to be a fun place to be. Also, Quad, thank you so much for the follow. And the unfollow. Yeah, at least you're honest about it.
Let things happen let the chips fall as they may. Let man be wiped out.
But why would we want man to be wiped out? I am man. I don't want to be wiped out. Let's get a bad, but thank you for redeeming your points for an fucking degen. Like, wait? What kind of megalomaniacal bullshit is that? Just let man get wiped out. What if I don't want that? What if I want to live?
This is the question I posed to her.
I'll hydrate,
I said, probably nature has it planned to make a more special species than man. So the idea that man is the ultimate being and we need to preserve the environment for man, it's only due to religion that you believe man is the ultimate species. But
no, there's plenty of atheists who don't believe man is the ultimate species. We just happen to be humans, so we want to live. Like, we don't really get the ability to, just be different species. So maybe it's a good idea to preserve the world that humans are living in. I don't know, maybe. Nakibri suggested a poll. Do we wipe out man? Jesus Christ.
Nature does it, then it's in our natural ability to destroy. And some people can fight to save, and some of us can fight to destroy. And eventually, if we destroy the environment, nature is going to replace us with a better species that can stay in the hot environment. So,
okay, but what? Motherfucker, do you want full thermonuclear war? Who dropped you on your head as a child? Who beat you viciously? Why are we here?
Why do people, atheists believe in conserving the environment? I believe they should not. So that's another.
I believe that we should, because I live here and I want to continue living here. And when I have kids, I want them to live here, and I want their kids to live here. Like that's why.
Another question. The next question is, what is the singularity from which the galaxies were formed?
Fuck if I know, and fuck if you know. Next question.
Because according to the evolutionary theory, you had this dense singularity that exploded and expanded into the world and continues to expand into all the galaxies. So, but the question is, what's that singularity?
Yeah, fuck if I know, and fuck if you know.
Because if you do not know, because we still, in essence, are that singularity.
Yeah, that's how matter dispersion works. And did you know that the air you're breathing has also been breathed by, like, every other person that's ever existed? Did you know the water you're drinking was once a Catholic Pope's piss? Did you know that everything in the world has been recycled from every other thing in the world? Because that's how the world works. Did you know that the potatoes you ate were probably fertilized with deer shit? Yeah. And?
We are one. We are that one singularity. Because matter can never be created nor destroyed. But the question is, what is that singularity? If you don't know, that means you don't know what you are. The next...
The water you drank was once in a woman. Later versions. Did you know once I breathed air? That air was once breathed by a woman. Something of a woman's was inside me.
Next question is, how did that dense singularity at the beginning of the Big Bang come into existence?
It inflated. But also, fuck if I know and fuck if you know.
How did it come about? So, basically, you've not answered the fundamental question. Where did it come from?
The honest answer is, I don't know. And I think more people should be comfortable with the answer, I don't know. Not everybody needs to have a solution to the beginning of the universe. Not everybody needs a solution to peace in the Middle East. But all y'all fuckers seem to want to make fools of yourselves commenting about it on Twitter. But, you know.
Whether that singularity that continues, that we are, where did it come from? There has to be a beginning of it. Now, some people come in and try to say that, but then you try to explain God, like how does, if God, like the religion says God created that singularity.
Yeah, you can have an answer, but that answer can be wrong. I don't want to have an answer that is wrong, so I will simply be honest and say, I don't know.
And then they say, but how do you explain God? But these are people who don't understand the basic concept. You see, time, okay, a beginning deals with time and space. And time and space, so the question is, how did you create God? Or how did God come about?
He said, how did God come? I know how God came. You know how he came too. Anyway.
Out into being. Time and space. That's the creation, is with time and with space. Came into being with that singularity. So you cannot ask the question before the singularity, before that particle, that first particle. You can't ask the question of how did God come into being, because time limited coming into being comes about, and space all manifested from the expansion of that singularity. But when you go back behind that singularity, there's no time, there's no space. So there's no.
Yeah, that's because time is a measurement of change, but there is space because that's where the singularity is. You're wrong on that one. But also, cool story, bro.
Question of how or when did God come into being, because that's before the time and space that we are using within this our earthly conversation. So the question lacks logic. There's no question about that. The time factor when it comes to God.
Again, cool story. I know you think your deity did that, and I think he didn't. And neither of us can prove each other wrong on that one, so I guess we're at an impasse. Oh dear.
Okay, so anyway, these are the questions that we do. We could have a further discussion on this on some other tape, but these are just the questions for you to ask the atheist to answer.
You just make sure that you have your Christian gun loaded with 15 question bullets.
The next question is, can something come into existence out of nothing?
I don't know. I mean, there are some scientists that believe that they can for quantum reasons that I don't quite understand. But also, if we're talking about the singularity, nothing came into existence from nothing. That the matter was all there, and then it got rearranged. Also, we really need to have a definition of nothing that we're going from. Are we talking about, like, ex nihilo, or are we talking about, like, empty space?
If not, how do you explain the last two questions? And it's the same thing that, from the religious perspective, we say, okay, God created that singularity, created something out of nothing. But for the person who doesn't believe in God, then who created that singularity?
I mean, why does it have to be a who? Even the concept of a who is more of a human invention than anything else.
Or how did that singularity come about? Question number 7 is...
I like how he apparently has these as notes. He's just staring at his notes for it.
Categorically prove your existence beyond being in a dream.
I can't. I have no way of disproving solipsism, but I'm a pragmatist, so trying to argue that I am the only thing that exists and everything around me is something I dreamt up doesn't really do me a whole lot of good, and I don't wake up when I pinch myself from the dream, and I certainly don't wake up when I pinch other people, and they get mad at me. It was their fault for not wearing green, though, so, like, I don't know why they're getting mad. I wasn't doing it on a holiday or anything, so I just thought you weren't supposed to not wear green. Nick's gonna hate me. Anyway.
The only test I know so far to prove that you're not in a dream is to pinch yourself.
Wait! I didn't watch this video before. I didn't know he was gonna bring up pinching. Why did that make me so happy?
Stupid test. Of course, pinching yourself doesn't prove anything, so...
Well, it actually does. Like, I pinched myself and I'm still here, so I'm not dreaming. What?
So why bother? And this deals with the whole concept of materialism. We struggle to buy that BMW. You struggle to achieve things. You even want to eat food. Would you do those in your dream?
Yeah, I do those in my dream sometimes. I eat food in my dream sometimes.
So before you can define or state that, okay, this is important, this is relevant, prove yourself, your existence, prove material existence.
Okay, I will slam my head into concrete, and when it hurts, I am real. I don't know what else you want from me.
Prove your existence out of being in a dream, because if not, you're really at loss. You know, if you're doing all this and you're just in a long, prolonged.
Have you ever asked yourself, do Christians who make up these questions, do they really believe all this nonsense? Do they believe that they're actually in just a dream? And I'm not talking about being in, like, the dream of Nazoth or some shit. Like, I'm just talking about, do these people really believe that there are people around them that think that they're just in a dream, and they're arrogant enough to believe that in their brain they have come up with every damn really cool thing they love in their world? Like, I am not creative enough to make Dragon Ball Z, but damn, I fucking love it. I didn't dream that up, though. I didn't dream up the batshit crazy things that Akira Toriyama pulled out of his ass. That man made a bug a cool villain.
As it may dream. Question number 8 is, can you scientifically discuss parthenogenesis?
Parthenogenesis? No, I'm not an expert on it. I can Google, though. I can Google.
Which is certain organisms birthing, virgin births.
Parthenogenesis, a reproductive strategy that involves development of a female, rarely a male gamete, sex cell without fertilization. It occurs commonly among lower plants and invertebrate animals, and rarely among higher vertebrates. Cool! Thank you, Britannica. I have no idea what this has to do with anything.
Pretty much. Because a lot of people, argue about these religious concepts, which are across most religions, of virgin births.
Mm-hmm.
And parthenogenesis exists mainly in invertebrates.
Yeah.
In certain conditions, they can. And there's this link about a virgin birth of a mammal that actually rewrote history of biology, where they actually brought about virgin birth. So virgin birth is not that big of a deal. But if scientists, people who doubt God, believe in parthenogenesis, then the question is, how do they reconcile that? The fact that virgins can be made to give birth.
I mean, so what I have here is a study on parthenogenesis and ovarian teratoma. So apparently this is a thing that in very rare cases can happen with people. Now, I have not read this study. I have barely gotten through the abstract. I literally skimmed it a little bit while the guy was talking, so I might not even remember the things he said here. But, yeah, fun thing for the back, when I don't know something, I tend to Google it. I tend to try to figure out what it is that I don't know so that I can patch that gap in my knowledge before ADHD makes me forget it immediately. But the point is, see here, parthenogenesis is an asexual reproduction in which a female can produce an embryo without fertilizing an egg or sperm. It occurs naturally in some jawed vertebrates, such as the whiptail lizard, but in mammals it is an unnatural event. However, it may not be a rare event in humans as we thought. It may occur spontaneously, resulting in the formation of teratoma in the ovary, which is ovulated each ovarian cycle until it is fertilized by sperm. Once the sperm enters the egg, however, under idiopathic abnormal circumstances, the spontaneous exit of the oocyte from menopause could occur without a parent stimulation. This is known as spontaneous activation. Such spontaneous parthenogenetic activation may occur in human oocytes, mostly leads to tumor formation. So that's not a virgin birth. That's making a tumor. That apparently is just making a tumor. Huh. Let's see here. Some authors postulate that it occurs in humans through the formation of OTs. However, they didn't explain how this could happen. Reproduction in most mammals occurs through mating between male and female. It's been hypothesized that the presence of rare cases of parthenogenesis in humans that could result in normal and viable individuals goes unnoticed due to the absence of congenital anomalies. This doesn't seem to actually be saying that it happens, though. Do we have any documented cases of this? Documented cases of parthenogenesis in humans. Let's see here. In 1995, Strain and colleagues reported an extraordinary and intricate case of parthenogenetic event resulting in a viable male baby. Interesting. So we actually do have at least one moment where this happened, kind of, sort of. At least they think this happened this way. Huh, interesting. So, how do I scientifically explain it? I don't. But there seems to be a whole lot of literature on the topic, and we seem to actually have a pretty decent idea of mechanisms that can make it happen hypothetically, and there's at least one case of it happening. It looks like, except this is mentioning that this parthenogenic cell fused to a normal embryo, resulting in what was called a chimera. So, not really a human. Not really in the same way. Somebody who knows more about this topic is going to give me a giant thing in the comment section about why I am wrong about everything I'm saying. But I will just say this. I don't know enough about it, but there's two things that can happen here. In scenario A, parthenogenesis is possible, and therefore it's not miraculous. So Mary having a virgin birth didn't actually fucking matter, because apparently it can just happen. In that scenario. In scenario B, where it doesn't happen, then I guess Mary didn't have a virgin birth, and she was just trying to hide some things from Joseph. I mean, after all, Joseph was like 65 and Mary was like 12. Just letting you guys know, Mary was the original Lolly. But, you know. Just letting you know. Just letting you know.
Including mammals. And then deny virgin births as this big thing. And that also goes along with all these other miracles, which many of them are scientific. Like Adam.
Well, then that means they're not miraculous, which means that God wasn't required, which means we stop having reasons to care.
Adam and Eve being made from a rib of Adam. And when you look at it, that's just cloning. So if you understand cloning, when you're trying to avoid hybrid sterility, if making species incompatible, so the best way to make a species is out of a piece of the other. So you have Adam.
So Eve being made from Adam wasn't very miraculous at all. That basically means that Adam was the first Alabamian. That's gross.
And you take his rib, and that's you get stem cells in the rib, which actually just goes along with cloning. And then you can't clone a man out of a woman, but you can clone a woman out of a man, because a woman just has two X's, so all you need to do is double the X. So basically, when you talk about stuff like that, a lot of
Are you sure about that? Hold on, I don't know if that one's true. Can you clone a man from a woman? Yes, just curious here. It is not so a woman does not have a Y chromosome, hence it is not possible to create a male from her genetic material. Interesting. So he's actually kind of right about this one. He's calling Eve a clone and noting that it is technically impossible to create a male from female tissue alone. Which is not technically untrue if we're just talking about pure biology there, technically speaking. So sure, why not? It's an interesting bit of information and a fun coincidence, though I think it's more likely, if we use Occam's razor, that God didn't engage in some amazing scientific cloning experiment, more that you had an instance where a group of people were mostly ones with men in power, and so they wanted to have their origin story be mostly male dominated. So they had a male god, and then they had a male shepherd of the flock, and then a female that was sprouted from him, and then the female caused the fall of everybody. That sounds like what happens when you have mostly male writers in the writing room.
Religious stories have simple scientific explanations, which, depending on the time frame, sometime you're thinking about a rib being broken and cracked. But it's just cloning. The word is just cloning. God cloned Eve out of Adam's rib.
So, do you think that we can actually? Do you think God had a cloning machine, and he was doing that? Like, it's either that this is a miracle and therefore something that's awe-inspiring and amazing, or it's something that is so absolutely simple that it just doesn't matter.
And it's as simple as that. Some of these things could simply be explained in ways scientists and students of science can't understand. So Question number 9 is, do you agree that evolutionary principles prove religion?
What? I mean, I believe that as a society, we grew to want cohesive structure because societies with cohesion tend to function better than societies that don't. And one of the easiest ways to maintain cohesion in a society is hierarchy. And hierarchy tends to also really marry well to the idea of dogma. And dogma also marries really well to the idea of religion. So societies that became more dominant were societies that were also united by dogmatic religions. That would make sense, evolutionarily speaking, as an adaptation socially for the human race. That doesn't make religion special, though? Not in this case.
And that's the simple thing, because evolution says that traits, human traits, including memory, religion, the test of evolutionary success is a trait that stays with people through the advancement of man. So any trait that stays with you is evolutionarily positive and a successful trait. Religion is one of
No, that's not the definition of a successful trait. There are plenty of very, very, very detrimental traits that humans have that have happened to stick with us evolutionarily. That doesn't make them successful traits. That just makes them traits.
of them. So you want to cancel your memory? Do you want to cancel perception? Do you want to cancel foraging for food? All
Did foraging for food, perception, and all of that, did it say the N-word on Twitter? I'm trying to figure out why we're canceling those things. Because, like, there's only a few reasons I can think of why you would cancel them.
all these are evolutionary traits which have stayed with man, including religion. So evolution actually promotes religion because it stayed and helped man to survive to the point at which we are today.
Cool. All you've done is explain that religion has utility, and I've never denied that religion has utility. I have argued that there are plenty of social structures that people can unite behind that are not necessarily religious, and I have tried to argue for pluralism, for people who are of multiple religions to come together and realize that they're not really so different, and they're actually pretty good people who can be pretty good friends if they try. But what am I saying? I'm not the guy who, goes to frickin' pagan bloats or anything while being an atheist. What are you talking about?
The next question is, why do you sleep? Scientists just can't figure it out.
Because I got tired, and I was a sleepy little boy. I had a long day of splashing bandits.
Religion has its answers to it, including some form, depending where, God takes souls away and returns them when you wake up.
What? That's the first I've heard of that one. I don't remember God yanking the soul out and then putting it back in. I don't want God that deep inside me. But apparently that's a thing you believe? Okay, cool. Sleep is not a mystery. It's a thing. Our bodies need it to survive. We do not do very well when we do not have sleep. We need time to literally, physically recharge those batteries. Most eukaryotic beings have some form of a sleep cycle, and also, at least for human beings, sleeping seems to play a really, really, really big deal in your memory making, your long-term memory storage. A lot of that seems to be snapshotted while you are asleep. So if you have bad sleep, your memory also goes out the window. So that's another one for the ADHD people who are not happy with their lot in life. Yay.
So religion has its understanding of sleep, but why do you sleep?
Because I was eepy.
That's a deep question.
It's not really a deep question. I was eepy, so I slept.
Fail to understand. There's no reason for it. You waste your time. You spend so much of your life in it, and what's the reason for it? Question number 11 is, why do you yawn?
Because you did. There you go. You yawned, so I yawned too. You don't believe me? How many of you yawned? Let me know in the comment section below.
That's another one. Question number 12 is,
no elaboration? We have like these long elaborations and everything else, but nothing else for that one? That's it? Cool. Also, yawning? God damn it, I said the odd word. Yawning. God damn it. Anyway, so apparently, according to a quick Google search, according to a quick Google search. Yawning is associated with some hormones that are released that briefly increase the heart rate and alertness. So actually, the reason that you yawn when you're tired or bored, it is your body's attempt to keep you awake. It is literally your body pausing and going, hang on, hold on a minute. Maybe you need to stay awake. I'm talking about yawning. God fark. Anyway.
It's an evolutionary question again. It's bilateralism.
What?
Human beings, you are bilateral. You have moving two sides. Question is, if you are developing two sides, how come both sides are harmonious?
Because it is more beneficial for most species for our equilibrium to be that way. Like, there's so much stuff that is baked into our idea of symmetry. We think that things that are dressed with symmetry look nice and put together. We think that faces that are symmetrical are more attractive than faces that are not. We find that bodies that have fat distribution that is symmetrical is more attractive than when it is not. There are people who go as far as to fetishize boobs that are symmetrical, even though, trust me, they're probably not. I'm just letting you guys know right now, those of you who've never touched a woman, never breathed air in her vicinity, when the day finally comes that you manage to undress one, I don't know when that day is going to come for some of you. Some of y'all are really lonely. Please seek help. But for those of you who do, the boobs, usually not symmetrical. Usually not. Just want to spoil that for you right now, so that you know. There you go. Have fun.
Congruous, the same. Why don't I have a blue eye here?
Did he just flick me off? Did bro just flick me off? I'm offended.
Can anybody who's talking strictly based on evolutionary principles explain why I don't have a square eye here? You can't develop two sides to harmonize. The bilateralism is something people just don't understand. So, except you have an intelligent designer.
So having bilateral bodies is a thing that allows the humans to have equilibrium. It literally allows us to propel ourselves forward in a straight line easier than not. It benefits us from a survival standpoint. Animals that move quickly and efficiently from point A to point B have a higher chance of survival, and having a symmetrical body increases your chance of survival. Having symmetrically shaped eyes increases the chance that your vision will be good, and having good vision allows you to survive. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, for everybody who has glasses, the reason that people with glasses are still around, despite that not being evolutionary beneficial, is because glasses cute and secretaries hot. So there you go. Glasses are evolutionarily beneficial for breeding. There we are.
Making it happen. How come you have two, identical sides?
See what's funny? Chat's actually pointing out I am one of those people who doesn't have two identical sides. My eyes are heterochromic. The reason that my avatar has very slightly heterochromic eyes is because I have one green eye, or one hazel eye, and one brown eye. So I have very slightly heterochromic eyes, and so does my avatar for that reason.
It doesn't make sense. I would like atheists and humanists and anti-godists to explain that. Question number 13 is, why does a cock hatch in seclusion?
It was what? Because all I heard is...
Question number 13 is, why does a cock...
I didn't know we were talking about cock. I'm deeply uncomfortable now. I don't want to be part of this conversation anymore. I think I'm going to leave. You guys can watch the video without me.
Hatched in seclusion. Crow when a hawk passes by. This is the innate, knowledge of organisms. It goes along with migration patterns, innate ability.
You mean instincts?
How does that cock know that hawk, it has to warn others that that's danger there?
Because
is that coded in your genes?
Because the ones that did the warning survived more, and therefore their cocks were more fertile to breed. It's some joke about chicken breasts. Probably insert that here right now. I don't have anything else to add there. Like, just literally, it's you answered the question in your own question. It was a survival trait. Survival traits tend to get passed down more often than not. The why isn't as important. We know the how.
Can that be coded in your genes? Okay. Question number 14. We have 15 questions here. The second to the last question I have here is...
Thank God.
Since there is absolutely no fact and no time-bound guarantee in science, can a position devoid of fact surpass other positions?
I'm not even sure what you're asking with that question. Can a position devoid of facts surpass other positions? Well, you know what? I think I can actually answer that one for you. I can answer that one for you very simply. For you see, it is a well-established trope that Charmander is the best starter in Pokemon Red and Blue. But I'm going to let you know right now, my boy Bulbasaur has deserved that spot for eons. There is not a single fact in favor of that Charmander. He goes against Brock, bodied. He goes against Misty, bodied. He goes against Erica. I mean, that's the 4th gym leader, so really, at that point, you should have a fire type anyway. It doesn't matter anymore. It's the first 2 gyms that matter. Ignore the fact that you can get a Butterfree and just wipe Brock out with confusion. That doesn't matter at all. Bulbasaur is still better. And yet there are people who, without facts, have made Charizard the most popular starter of Gen 1. Not counting Pikachu. That one doesn't count. That's not fair. So, yeah. Can a position become the dominant position without any facts to back it up? Absolutely. Charmander is a fucking wuss.
And this is, in science, there's no fact. There's absolutely no fact in science. So how do you come to the table?
So there's no fact in science. That's weird. I'm pretty sure that science is just us going out and discovering things, and scientific theories are just bodies of facts. Weird.
For a conversation or a discussion, when you're not bringing any fact, can you use a position where there is no fact? You have theories, you have principles.
So a scientific fact is based on, or a scientific theory is a body of facts. It is a body of known evidence. Or Seraph, thank you for the 200 bits. Good morning. It is a body of evidence. It is constructed from facts, actually.
And lots of times these principles or theories get thrown out. Now, how do you come to the table?
Name a scientific theory that has been thrown out, please. If we have established something as a theory, when did it get thrown out? Let me see here. Did I have any scientific theories been thrown out? Let's see here. There was an idea of Aether that was debunked, but I don't know if we had a theory of Aether. We have scientific ideas that were rejected, and even scientific ideas that were originally rejected that we actually found out were true. But I don't know if we'd have anything that we'd put on the realm of a theory that has been rejected. Accepted theories can be modified as new evidence and perspective emerges. There is a chance some of them can be overturned, but that's literally just science doing the self-correcting thing. As we learn more, then we can actually do more with it. As we figure out that something is real and true, when something we previously thought was real and true was incorrect, then we replace it. That feels more of a thing in the favor of science. It was interesting to find out that there actually have been some scientific theories that have been overturned, apparently. I don't know what they are, but Google is a thing. And the University of California, Berkeley, notes that there are some theories that have been overturned at certain points in time. So, cool. That's a thing. So theories also aren't inherently true. They're just the best we got so far. Again, a theory is just a body of evidence. That evidence may support a different theory down the line. So the flat Earth theory, but would that have been considered a theory though? Because like remember when we're talking about science, theory is a very specific term. A theory is the is the body of facts supporting an idea. I said the one Mew is based off of. What's the theory where you people thought embryos cycled through the revolution?
Table for a conversation without a single fact and use that to uphold something else. Now, you might not be able to prove that something else is better than what you are coming to the table with, but you are coming to the table devoid of fact.
No, like, oh, so hold on. If I have a theory that that wall is made of dry, and if I ram my head through it, the dry will crumble, and people in my chat will tell me that it's tasty and they should eat it. That theory will be proven the minute I slam my head through it, and they hear the crunch and crumble of the delicious graham cracker crust of my drywall. It's not delicious, though. My chat is just gaslighting me. They've been gaslighting me about drywall for ages. So, yeah, no, I'm sorry, but saying that people come devoid of facts, that feels like just lying at that point.
Okay. And the final question is...
Finally!
Can you defend or explain or justify the placebo effect?
Yeah. Brain weird. Brain go burr. But brain go burr. That's simple as that. If you believe that a benefit will happen, there is a chance the benefit will happen. That's it. Your brain wants to feel better. The brain is a very powerful thing. It literally is the motor behind your entire body. The placebo effect, it's just because brain's strong. That's it.
And when you're telling people to abandon religion, it's well known that the placebo effect is, you take a placebo and you do get healing. How do you explain that? Science cannot explain that.
Wait, no, placebos don't give healing. That's not what they do. I actually can give you a quote directly from Harvard Health on this. You feel better. You feel better. But it doesn't cure you. Placebo makes you feel better, but you are not cured. It's the difference between being asymptomatic and simply being devoid of an infection. And I think most people who've lived through COVID should know the difference between those two things. But if the last question is just the placebo effect, I don't think we have to return to the video. Dude's only got like 40 seconds left, and we've been here for 50 minutes. 53, actually. That's a lot. That's way, way a lot. But that was 15 questions, so I guess it makes sense we had to spend a lot of time on them. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. It is a longer video than normal, but I don't know, maybe the algorithm will like that since it's very dedicated to bending me over and making me feel loved and devoid of pain. Just kidding, it's fucking me. You know, I have to actually re-record this. I screwed up the recording of this. Wow, that sucks. But this one is from Living Thrash Can. Thank you. This is Zupotato. Quick mail Suris drawing. I wanted to draw that model since I saw it. Hope you like it. Yeah, I didn't realize I double-clicked the record button. So I've actually seen all these once before. Suris, just use the VOD. No! Absolutely not. I'm not combing through 8 hours of a VOD just to find this one moment. No, I'm not doing that. I refuse. I will re-record like a professional. Or a lazy person. Your pick. This next one is from Aaron Primit. It's tickle fetish art. I don't know what else. I don't know what else you need. It's tickle fetish art. It's literally the end though. Yeah, I know, but I'll show you why. I'll show you why. And the last one here is from Axo that has cream. It is the early part of the Time Raccoon animation that got used for the subathon. Here's the reason why. Because I have all of my clips recorded, and my system is literally a drag and drop system. I do not have the spoons to comb through any of my VOD, literally ever. I never do that, and I never will. Go to the credits. Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.